Hello and welcome to Asliga.com. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the ALI, which is this column here, and what it does, how it works, why we came up with it, how we came up with it, and how you can use it to scout players, manage your team better, and hopefully achieve a higher score consistently week to week. So when I came up with this rating system, I was looking for a way to scout players and make smarter transfers. I was serious about my league and I wanted to beat my friends. We had a prize, and so I'd started browsing the internet and trying to read as many stats as I could, which was time consuming. I had 15 players in my team, and it was one thing to check on their stats week to week, but I was also trying to look at my opposition's teams because we play in a head-to-head league, and I was trying to look at their stats as well, and I was trying to look at stats for players that I wanted to bring in. And when you're scouting 30, 40, 50 players, it takes a lot of time, because the problem is we don't all get to see all 10 games week to week, especially if you've got a lot of players in your team who are in teams who are in the lower half of the table. You might not watch all those games, and it's very hard to know how your players are going any further than that 2 or that 5 or that 6 you see on your scorecard at the end of the week. So I felt there had to be a better way. So then I thought, well, why don't I just look for a rating system that will, just give me an overview on how they've gone. Just one number, bam, did they play well, did they play bad? And I tried that, and there was still a problem. Players were getting awarded in these rating systems for things that I didn't care about, that weren't fantasy relevant. For instance, a defender might get a very high rating for a week if they made plenty of clearances off the line, if they won a lot of aerial duels, if they won a lot of tackles. And at the end of the day, if they don't keep a clean sheet, I don't care. I want to keep players in my team who are ideally getting up and down the touchline and putting in crosses, or getting on the end of corners, taking shots on goal, and still keeping a clean sheet. So I wanted a rating system that just focused on those things. On the same page, I also didn't want a misleading rating system in the sense that, well, but before I say that, I should say that we don't award any goals or assists in the ALI. You don't get any credit for getting a goal. You don't get any credit for getting an assist, which might sound strange at first, but this is really an indication of how many chances your players are making to get you points from a fantasy perspective. So we credit a player for a shot on goal, but we don't credit a player for a goal. And that's because a player might only touch the ball 3 times in a game. If they're lucky enough to get 3 goals off those 3 touches, or they might get 3 assists, it doesn't really, if we credited that in the ALI, it's misleading. It makes you think they are heavily involved in everything the team is doing. It makes you think they're, having a great game, when in reality they may have got lucky. You're not just buying players with your budget. You're not just buying points. You're buying chances to score points. So you want to buy as many chances as possible, and that is really the crux of what this ALI is all about. It's helping you get an idea of what players you can buy that will bring you the most chances to score. And we've also kept the way we score the ALI very closely related to the amount of points that you would get from those chances that they're creating. For instance, a defender, if they score a goal, he's going to get you 6 points for that goal. If a forward scores you a goal, he's only going to get you 4 points. So, ergo, a shot on goal from a defender is worth more to you than a shot on goal from a forward, and we scale things that way. And you'll see in the examples that I'm about to show you that the ALI does, really follow their score, or I should say that their scores week to week follow the ALI, and it is a very good indication of how those players are going. And if you can keep a team, you can see here we've got the summary of the ALI. Mine's not all that great at the moment. If you can keep a team that has a very high ALI, you're keeping a team that's getting you a lot of chances week to week to pick up points. So let's have a look at Suarez, because we know he's been in red hot form this season. If we click on him, right, so I've clicked on Suarez, and we can see here this orange line is his Asliga Index score. and the red line is his weekly point score. And you can see, in general, the higher his Asliga Index score is, the more points he's returning. And you can see here in a few games where he's been kept quiet, he hasn't picked up many points. Obviously, he doesn't like playing Hull. We got a game here against Hull with an ALI of only 4.2. Another one here, an ALI of 3.9, and he's hasn't picked up big points that week. Only got he's still got 6 points this week, so he's going all right. But in these weeks where he's got a very high ALI, 14.8, you can see he returned 24 points, so that's not a bad return. And I'll show you an example of a player who got a very high point score and how the ALI really reflected his involvement not being as great as you might think. So we got Delph here from Aston Villa. You can see here in week 14, let's have a look how many points he got. 13 points. Picked up a goal, picked up an assist. Looks like a great game from the outside. Now I think from memory about 13,000 managers brought him in for week 15, which I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was something around there. And he hasn't scored more than 2 points since. And if you were to look at his ALI before making that transfer, you would have seen that he's not all that involved in the attacking play. Even this week that he got his goal and an assist, he only had one shot at goal and he only had one key pass. So he was very lucky to get that goal and an assist. So it kind of helps you weed out the fool's gold as well. Because like I said, a lot of people would have just seen this number at the end of the week and made their transfers based on that. Now you can see how closely related the ALI is to, or what kind of indication it gives you of points return, especially in some of the defenders. Coleman, he's got an ALI of 5.6, and he gets up and down the touchline. He's actually getting 5.6 points per game, averaging over the season, which is what it's filtered by at the moment. Let's have a look at the last 4 weeks. Just recalculating there. All right, so he's got an ALI of 3.2, but he's still got 5.5 points per game. So, he's not going too bad. But you can see he's Santon, ALI of 2.8, points per game of 3. Silva, 12.2, 6.3. So you can see in these graphs here how closely, how much of an indication that gives you of whether they're going to return you points or not. It's not an oracle. It's not going to tell you exactly how many points they're going to get week to week. It's just going to give you a very good indication of how many chances they're creating for you to score those points. And that's pretty much it. You can filter down here. You can use it, if you click on the header there, it will filter by the ALI score, and you can look at midfielders or defenders or whatever you want to do. Forwards, you can change over the season or the last few weeks to give you an indication of more recent form. But it's really there, and I can't stress enough how valuable it is to build up a team with a very high ALI. You see Walker here, he's had 1.2 his ALI over the last, 4 weeks, and his points per game is only 2.7. So they're not keeping clean sheets, so that's not being reflected that is being reflected in the ALI, I should say. And he's not achieving these, higher scores here as he was earlier in the season. You can see his form, or Tottenham's form taper off, I suppose. But I hope that gives you a good idea of what this ALI does and how it can benefit you. And I think it's very valuable. It's helped me a lot and helped a lot of my friends who I've, given this system to for them to trial. And I hope it works for you too. Thanks a lot for watching.